Hello everybody. Gage says it's empty. Let's go see what's in the fridge today.
Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. I do appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Today's beer, we got another one sent to me by Joe. This is from Ingenious Brewing Company down in Texas. This is their Time, the 2019 edition. Beer Advocate has this listing as last year's edition, or the last time they brewed it, because they only have it at 11.5%. So evidently there's nobody posting new updates or says here right on their site, this beer is retired, no longer brewed, which is a lie. Misinformation. So I don't know what to tell you there, guys. It is what it is. A lot of misinformation on Beer Advocate site. I don't know if they're not getting the people commenting or posting on this beer or a lot of other beers. Seems like they have a lot of misinformation because they clump them all together in one place, and they don't differentiate between the different years that are due when they have different ABVs and everything else. So they're basically way behind the times, guys. Time, that's what this beer is. And like I said, this was sent to me by Joe. He sent me a couple from this brewery. Did one yesterday. We're going to do this one today. This is a bourbon barrel aged Imperial Sweet Stout, which usually means they use lactose in the brewing, conditioned on vanilla beans and cereal marshmallows. So, sounds very interesting. Should be a very sweet tasting beer. They use lactose in it. And it's a 12%er, guys. This is a big beer. Big. And like I said yesterday, I don't think I've had a whole lot from this brewery before, so I appreciate Joe spending his hard-earned money and picking me up a couple of the beers from that brewery and sending them to me, even though they're not cheap beers to buy. The note he sent, he said, the first in time, a 12% bourbon barrel aged pastry stout conditioned on vanilla beans and cereal marshmallows, brewery only released for their Hopstone event. This event honored the release of the new Marvel Avengers Endgame movie, and everybody has probably heard about that so far, the new Avengers movie. This thing is based on one of the Infinity Stones. $24 for a 2-pack. That's $12 a pop, guys. Not a cheap beer to buy. That's not a cheap beer to make, being a bourbon barrel aged 12% Imperial Stout. $12 a can, 2-pack, limited to 2 packs per person. So you can only buy 4 of these. They're rationing them out, guys. That's how it's done. Keep one person from buying 10 cases or more. They want to spread that goodness around instead of one person hoarding everything. He said he thought it was delicious, but could have used more bourbon flavoring. I hate to hear that. I hope it's going to have big bourbon notes, especially for the price of this beer and what they were limiting and how many you could buy. Hopefully they left it on the bourbon barrels in their barrels long enough to get some of those bourbon notes. But I'm going to tell you honestly, guys, even though I didn't buy this beer, and Joe did, and paid a premium price just to get 4 cans of it if he bought that many, it needs to have the bourbon notes there. And if it's not there, I'm going to tell you that. And we'll be straight up honest as I can be on these beers that are sent to me or I've bought. We've had a couple that I've been selling for a while, like that Alaskan Porter that was sent to me. It had some age on it, and I aged it some longer, and it just wasn't there. But it was a little over 6% beer, so we were stretching at it on that one. If it had been a 10, 11, 12%, it probably would have aged a lot better than what it did. So, with that being said, I don't think there's anything else we need to go over there. So let's jump over to Untappd. And it says the same thing that he's telling me here. So 12%, they're saying on Untapped is 65 IBUs for the 2019 edition, and which is what this is. This was canned in March. So let me see what the date was. 03/18. So it's not quite 2 months in the can, but being a bourbon barrel aged stout, and it wasn't done with any coffee that they're telling us, so it should sell it for a while. He's saying that he thinks the bourbon notes are a little subdued. I'm hoping that's not the case for me. Everybody's palate's different. How much bourbon notes you want, or how much is overpowering, and all that. So we're about to find out what I think. Now, I've had a few beers in my day, so we'll see if his taste is comparable to mine. And I think the bourbon notes are a little lackluster or a little subdued. But that would prevent you, if you buy this beer and you pay that premium price for it, and the bourbon notes are not there, that's going to register in your mind whether you want to buy that beer again. So hopefully they've left it in there long enough, and maybe if they haven't, they're going to get some feedback where they would leave it in there longer to get more bourbon notes. But a lot of these brewers don't want the bourbon notes to overpower everything else. So we shall see. So that's everything we need to talk about. Big 12-ounce plain Jane can with a stick-on wraparound label that's telling me they're concentrating on what's in the can instead of a big fancy printed up can that's going to get thrown away or recycled. We're going to go down the center on this pour. I'm not going to be able to get it all in there, guys. We'll leave a little bit in the can probably, like we always do on these big 16-ouncers. As you can see, all the writings on the back, and you just get their little picture on the front. And that evidently is their logo, because it's on the back of the can right above their name, and it was on yesterday's can right above the name. It looks like a brain. Half of it's green like hops, and the other half is red. So I don't know. About a quarter finger of head on that pour. Not seeing a whole lot of light. There may be a light bit of red rubiness around the thin part here, but it's pretty dark. Good looking stout. It is. 12%er. Drink it at home. Don't drink this and try to drive, guys. Let's get it to the nose. Wow. Big time sweetness. I'm getting marshmallows, vanilla, roasted malt, and the bourbon notes are kind of subdued, guys. That's not a good thing. They should, if they put it in first run barrels that's never had beer in it before, they did not leave it in there long enough for the aroma to come out. And I don't know about the taste yet, but it's very sweet. A lot of vanilla and marshmallow and roasted malt. Could be a breakfast beer, but it's a 12%er. Some of you young bucks might want to drink this on a weekend if you ain't got to work. We definitely wouldn't drink this and try to go to work. Ooh, that'd be a bad thing. Smells very, very nice. A great smelling beer, other than the bourbon notes being a little subdued, like Joe said. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Joe. That's a great tasting beer, guys. If the bourbon notes are there, they're very, very, very subdued. And that may be what they wanted. They may not wanted the bourbon notes to overpower anything else. But if you're paying that kind of premium price, I definitely want to smell it, and I definitely want to taste those bourbon notes to make it worth my money and time. I don't know if he had to stand in line to get it or how that worked for him. But the bourbon notes, I agree with Joe. They're very subdued, guys. It needs to have more than that, and that's not a good thing. It's probably going to cost them at least a grade point. I'm getting a little bit of cinnamon there too. But the vanilla and the marshmallow taste, the sweetness is definitely there. It's a great tasting beer. I don't know if I would claim it's bourbon barrel aged with those notes being subdued, but as far as everything else, it is there. It's a great tasting beer. And I agree with Joe. I think the bourbon notes are subdued. I think they should have left it in the bourbon barrels a little longer. Because I'm not giving those big bourbon notes at all. And if they are, they're so subdued, they're not coming out. So I would agree, Joe. The bourbon notes are kind of subdued on this. And for a beer that costs $12 a can, and they're only limiting you to a 4-pack of this, that would probably be enough for me not to want to buy it again if the bourbon notes are that subdued and they're charging that much for it. There are beers that have those bourbon notes. Maybe not as sweet as this unless it's a lactose beer. But everything else is there. Everything else other than the bourbon notes are there. Great tasting beer. Final beer of the evening for me. So let me sip on this. It's right out of the fridge, and hopefully some of those bourbon notes will come out a little bit more as it comes at the room temperature. But I'll tell you that when I come back in just a second. Alright guys, I'm back. I've been sipping on it a while. Very nice slicing stuff on the glass. Very tasty beer other than the bourbon notes. The bourbon notes are way too subdued for what you got to pay for this beer. They did not leave it in the bourbon barrels long enough to me. Or it wasn't a first run bourbon barrel, something that had beer in it the first time. I don't know. I don't have that information, but it's a very nice sweet milk stout and a lot of damn flavors and stuff coming through other than the bourbon notes. And I agree with Joe with what he said. The bourbon notes are too subdued, and they are. For what you got to pay for this beer, there are better beers out there. So, not sure I would buy this beer if I was in Texas and went to the brewery for this. If I'd had it before, I would give them the shot the first time like I'm doing this. But I would probably not buy this beer because the bourbon notes are too... It is a good beer. Don't get me wrong, it is a good beer. And all the flavors and notes are there other than the bourbon notes. And that may be what they wanted. They may not have wanted the bourbon notes overpowering anything else. But if I'm paying that premium price, I want to be able to taste those. I want to be able to smell that. And it's not there. If it's there, it's so subtle. Everything else is covering it up. So, very pleasant aroma. A very nice sweet stout. And a lot of guys might consider this a breakfast stout. But it is a big beer at 12%. All the notes are there, guys, except for the bourbon notes. Cinnamon, vanilla, roasted malt, sweetness. Other than the bourbon notes, this is a 10 beer. But with the bourbon notes being as subdued as they are, it's not going to get that great. Especially for what it cost Joe to buy this beer. And if they're limited to 4 of them, and the bourbon notes are not there, probably be something that I would not purchase again if I did buy a 4-pack the first time. So, but alcohol is well hidden for a 12%er. Very well done beer, other than the bourbon notes. They need to leave it in the bourbon barrels longer, or use first run bourbon barrels that's never had beer in them before. So I don't know. I don't have that information. But they do need to leave it in the bourbon barrels to get more bourbon notes than what they are for the price they're charging for this beer. Final chug. A great beer, other than the bourbon notes. Everything else is there. Very pleasurable, very easy drinking, a very nice beer. But with the bourbon notes not being there, and for the price they're charging for this, A- for me, guys. I'm gonna give it a 92. A-. So over to Beer Advocate, and like I said, they have it listed as 11.5%. So evidently it was last year's, or the last batch version. They don't have the 12% listed. So evidently they've done this beer more than once, at least more than once. And it's 4.25, and they say outstanding over there. And the Untapped has the 2019 edition listed here at the right ABV, and they're giving it 4.4, which is pretty damn awesome numbers from them on this. Other than the bourbon notes, it's an outstanding beer. And with the bourbon notes being as subdued as they are, and the price of this beer, you can buy a better bourbon barrel aged Imperial Stout. That's just my honest opinion, guys. I do think it's a well-made beer. That's why I put it up into the A- category. But the bourbon notes, if you're expecting big bourbon notes, you're going to be very disappointed with this. And I was a little bit. Of course, I didn't buy it. It was sent to me. So Joe, thanks again for spending your hard-earned money on this beer, but I do agree with you, sir. The bourbon notes are very lackluster. Everything else is there. So if you've had the 2019 edition of Ingenious Brewing's Time 12%er, let me know what you think. Till we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.